Peace to the planet. You know what it is. And Deece of the Bishop chilling live and direct. I said I was going back to Cali. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm here and I'm chilling with one of my favorite people. I talk to this guy like several times a week. It's got to be at least twice. At least twice. He runs CPMMA. This guy, Professor Josh Peters, is not just a black belt. He is not just a really tough dude. He is not just a guy who really knows his jiu-jitsu and MMA history. He's a really good human, right? I talk all the time that, one of the reasons why I'm always pushing this whole thing about ethics and jiu-jitsu, and I won't stop, is because when you know jiu-jitsu, you have a responsibility to be a better person because it works. It's not like your kid's taekwondo class where they got a black belt at 9 years old. It's not that, right? It's a very dangerous sport. When people are doing MMA, when people are doing jiu-jitsu, like, it's important to me that they have an ethical way of being. This guy has a very ethical way of being. He is tough. His team is tough. Josh, thank you for coming on Bishop Chronicles.
Pleasure. What are you drinking?
You know what? This is a blend of oolong and green tea. I learned that when you drink oolong and green tea together, you lose weight faster than if you just drank oolong or if you just drank green, because both will help you lose weight. But if you're drinking them together, you lose weight faster. So I always blend my oolong with my green as often as I can.
I'm having Four Seasons oolong in here. That's
my boy, right? My nickname is the Oolong Slayer. You know what I'm saying?
And I actually used to be a straight jasmine tea person for like maybe 15 years.
Dude, jasmine's gold. You can never go wrong with jasmine.
Yup.
That's just a great tea. That's a great tea.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for coming on Bishop Chronicles. I feel like
finally made it happen
a long time ago. This is your second time, right? Is this your second time? This isn't your first time.
This is the first. Now, so you're going to ask me something about something that might have happened more than a week ago?
No,
I'm not a reliable source.
I think I was on a podcast with you a while ago.
Yes.
You did, but you weren't on Bishop Chronicles. That's what it is.
No, I don't host any podcasts. I don't.
What was I on then? I thought okay. It could be that I'm 56.
Yeah, I don't trust my memory to say yes or no.
All right, so we're going to let that go. We're going to let that whole thing go. But we are going to say welcome to Bishop Chronicles. Super happy to have you on, man.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
So will you talk to people about a few things? Talk about your school, and then I'll ask about your journey, and then we'll get into a discussion about why people tend to quit jiu-jitsu at different belt levels.
Cool. Yeah, so I guess a little quick rundown. I got involved with martial arts starting in 1988 with Dennis Brown with doing Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. I was taking like an hour and a half bus ride each way to go to class. So I did that once or twice a week when I was 11, which
this was in DC?
Yeah, right outside DC in downtown Silver Spring.
Okay.
And if you've ever been there recently, the way it is now is not the way it was then, but my parents in New York City were like to put it. My mom was born in Brooklyn, grew up in the Bronx. She's in Flatbush.
Right.
So for them as a kid to go on the bus was whatever. But then a Taekwondo gym opened up about a mile from my house, so I could walk there if I wanted to quicker than I could ride a bus. So I did that. Around the mid 90s, I started getting disenchanted with Taekwondo as they moved to electronic scoring, and it became more of this tappy tap game. And all respect to it, but it just wasn't what I was interested in. And so I would just randomly sign myself up for kickboxing fights, Lei Tai fighting. I did a bare knuckle karate match once, which I will never, ever do again.
People think karate is not hard, man. Karate is hard on the body, bro.
And bare knuckle to your body, my chest is purple.
Dude, real karate hurts.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I just signed up for things. I was like, I want to go fight in this style.
Yeah.
See what I like. I'd read the rules like the week of or before and just show up to things. Then, and I saw the UFC on a bootleg that I rented from Purple Potamus Videos, which is the video rental store near my parents' place. And I was like, holy shit. And I kind of heard about jiu-jitsu like in Black Belt Magazine, because they would have a couple articles.
Yeah, there might be a Hoist article or Horian or something.
And the Machado brothers, because they're connected to Chuck Norris, right? And so then I went off to school in Vermont for 2 years, and I started doing some jujitsu with the one of the students there. And I was when I moved back to Maryland, I was like, I am going to go train, and that's where I got started in 2002, and just haven't looked back. I started with my friend Nick Robinson. We started Capital Punishment MMA as a club. The
Yeah,
students came up with that, and eventually that metamorphosed into College Park Mixed Martial Arts, and now it's Combat Principles MMA,
I
located
heard
in
it.
Burtonsville, Maryland. I'm a third degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've fought professionally in mixed martial arts, amateur in MMA, and the submission grappling. I did fight to win a couple times. I did
Nice.
competed in Muay Thai. I've competed in Sanda. I've point karate, just whatever I get myself into.
My man
And
knows a lot.
yeah,
Is basically
yeah. I even
what
did
we're trying.
capoeira for 2.5 years under Cobra Mansa, who brought the Angola style to the United States. He was like one of the people that. And if you want to talk
Angola
about a
style is
crazy,
the hardest one. If y'all don't know.
yeah, if you want to talk about, so Angola is a region in Africa. It's Angola, Africa, which is where it originated from. Came to Brazil, and then it was taught as a counterinsurgents, basically martial art of
Yeah.
how to fight for freedom. And when I told my first coach that I trained with Cobra Mansa, he looked at me like I was completely just full of shit. He's like, "There's no way he trained you."
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize who he was. He
Right.
literally is like
The
one of the
guy.
people who brought it to the United States, and he looked like a halfway homeless person half the time. Like you would never know that this is like the
That he had it
Godfather.
like that.
That
Yeah.
he was like that. It was super cool. I also learned that my head should probably stay above my behind most of the time. I am not an acrobat. Um, but yeah, then yeah, I have a gym now in Burtonsville. I was fortunate enough to have the bishop come out, drop one of his iron hook from
Scroll
one of his
shotties. Yeah,
seminars.
that was
Yep.
fun,
If
right?
you ever want to get like some real legit instruction, so because we're gonna be talking about instruction, but let me talk. There's a difference between presenting information and teaching information. A lot of
Mm,
people can say this is my sequence or this is that, but to actually teach something, which is hopefully at the end, at least your students have a baseline understanding to replicate, and then through repeated training, learn what's being taught. You're like one of the few seminars I ever went to that I can still repeat what was done because of the way it was taught and the focus within it. If anyone in jujitsu knows back from like the early 2000s, you might hire someone to do a seminar and might show like 15 completely unrelated things.
this is
Right?
true.
It
Dudes
was
would
like a
tell me like, all
shotgun.
right, now I'm going to show you a choke. Now I'm going to show you a heel hook. Now, like none of it is
Yeah,
connected.
none of it. And so if you are, I'm plugging my man to the day I die. Get him out to your gym. He is as old school and as seasoned as it comes. You do not, and everyone's like, what does he want? Who gives a shit?
Who gives who?
No,
It's
no.
these,
What can
baby.
he teach? Exactly. So, I mean, that's we connected. We met through a mutual friend, Anthony Chinloy.
Yeah. Shout
We
out
knew
to
it out
Anthony.
in Cali. So, and quickly became
Homies,
basically my
man. Like,
non-biological brother.
yeah, we became
Family.
homies quick
Yep.
style. I had a great time out there. Your students are legit and dope, and I was really glad that everybody
Yep.
liked the seminar. I appreciate you, man, on a lot of levels. Um, we talk a lot about philosophy. We talk a lot about martial arts history and culture, and so that's why I really wanted to have this conversation with you because you're not just a practitioner; you're a gym owner, and I want to talk about why people quit jujitsu because it's such a hard thing to get the black belt. People say, like, right now, it's
Yep.
easier to get a black belt than it's ever been. And that may be actually true.
It's still hard.
Hard.
It's still like,
It's
you know,
still hard. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of wanted to talk about why people quit. Hold on. I'm gonna go into Claude right now, Claude.ai.
and
And
that's why you do that. I'm going to say this,
go.
like to preface this conversation, especially moms asking, well, or like, people who haven't been involved in any combat or contact sports, am I going to get hurt? I'll say yes, with 100% certainty at some point you are going to get hurt. Now, are you going to be injured? Still
Right.
likely. Are you going to be seriously injured? Not as likely if we train smart and the culture of the gym is conducive towards productive training, not just trying to kill each other. are you going to get hurt? But yeah, and then that off the bat eliminates a certain amount of people that are just not ready for physical discomfort, either through whatever their constitution is, or you could have life related things. I mean, I had a principal. I remember because usually you fight on a Saturday, and she'll be Peters. I don't care what happens Saturday as long as you show up Sunday.
Mm,
If you have to be like taped to the wall while you teach, just don't do anything that keeps you out of the classroom on Monday.
that's
And
real.
not everyone always has that support. You
Nah,
know,
that's real.
of course, you don't have to like there's like so as we saw, jujitsu has gone under a metamorphosis. It was originally kind of the approach was coming from a Carlson senior background, which is how the reason we trained the way we trained is not because of Elio. It is
No,
because of like
Carlson
how do we
Carlson
beat
taught a
people?
savage way.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real fight way of jujitsu, and Ralph Gracie also taught very
Yeah,
similar.
because he's from that lineage.
Yeah, Ralph and
So
Henzo and Carlson have a very similar way of looking at jujitsu, not just as a sport but as a fighting style.
exactly. And so like it has changed somewhat that like now most of jujitsu is practiced to beat other people doing jujitsu.
Yeah,
Before it was like we got to beat everyone else.
yeah.
And there is something to be said as it's probably the fastest evolving martial art that I've ever witnessed
Hmm.
due to one, there's multiple rule sets. Like there is, you can say that the standard IBJJF, the IBJJF is like the most widely recognized governing body in jiu-jitsu and
Yeah,
the rule set. But then you have people that sub only, half sub, half not, like ADCC, you have
yeah.
EBI, you have all these other ones. So it forces the practitioners to be very dynamic in their learning.
True.
It, and because even if you don't want to be a competitor, say you don't ever want to compete, you have people like Brian Glick, who's one of the most recognized professors from the DDS.
Brian Glick is dope.
Yeah, he never competed a day in his life, really, at least I'm aware of.
That's a
But
really good point. If you look at him, if you look at Danaher, and
mm,
who's the guy? Hickson's guy.
um, I know what you're talking
You
about, but
know who I'm talking about. Like he's such a
yes,
big deal from Dynamics Martial Arts in LA, but he was one of Hickson's early black belts.
yep,
And
he's
uh,
part of the Dirty Dozen. Oh, wait, are we talking about
I'm
um,
thinking of his name.
from Combat Base?
No, not that guy. That's
Um,
Howder, Chris Howder.
Chris Howard is also savage. I mean,
Um,
that man went to war, so
yeah, he's a
yeah,
savage.
he didn't have referees in a lot of his fights.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, I'm gonna pull his name up because I don't want to not say this guy's name.
Yeah.
Um, hurry up, Claude. Come on.
But say the training demands,
Henry Akins.
Henry
Henry
Akins,
Akins.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely
what a
amazing.
golden teacher. What a
Yep.
golden, right? But like, I don't think he's competed that much. You know what
No,
I don't think
but
I'm not saying he hasn't competed.
yeah,
He's not known for his competition,
yeah,
right?
he's known for his instruction.
And jiu-jitsu is weird like that, where you do get people like Danaher, like Henry, like you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
a lot of
He's
folks
intellectuals.
who are really good teachers, but who
Yep.
may not be champions from Abu Dhabi or IBJJF,
Yep. So
Uh,
yeah, so the training, I was thinking about this as before we were talking online. Like there's so the training and the intensity changed. I don't want to say it got harder or weaker. Like now to compete in jujitsu, you have to be so much more technically advanced than when I started,
ooh, and you got to be stronger. You got to be way more fit. Like you
Yep.
could just show up like, "Hey, what's up?" Now
Yep.
you got to have some creatine in that system. You better be knocking them push-ups and squats out. It's a
Yep.
thing.
Remember what was the first insult in jujitsu? Oh man, you were really strong. Now it's like, which is crazy, right? Because you go to a high school wrestling room, no one's saying that as an insult, or a college
Right.
wrestling room, or a judo room, where
I think that was a an intentional critique to focus on technique, though. I
yeah,
do.
this is true.
Right.
But now you got
I
to be
think that it's
strong. They're
meant.
telling you.
Yeah, it's that people are strong, and like I remember because I met Elio, like you know,
Yeah.
he didn't want people to be taking steroids to feel like they could win a fight.
Yep.
And
You should be
now
able to win it
and now
as you are.
steroids are standard issue from white to black,
Yep.
right? From white to black, you can find dudes on steroids all the time now. Now there can be arguments for steroids being better than the steroids of the 80s, like John Matuzak, right? Nobody
Yeah,
remembers
right.
him. He died
His
back
40s.
in the 80s, from steroids, I think messing up his heart or his liver. You know what I'm saying? Steroids are a lot gentler on the body now. You know what I
Yes.
mean? In general, getting testosterone and some of these other things. And I just like, I don't frown on it for those who need it.
Yep.
I don't. I'll never frown on it for those who need it. But I also think that a lot fewer people need it than acknowledge it. And I also think that a lot of doctors are farming out testosterone as a payoff, like they used to for weed in Cali back
Yeah.
in the day. Like, hey, doctor, my fingernail, you need weed. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
I got anxiety.
yeah, weed, weed,
I
weed,
had a
weed.
boy. One of my this guy used to be friends with. He would him and his gym used to be under combat base. We go out to Hodders.
Oh, okay,
He
yeah, yeah.
actually
Shout
went.
out.
Um, he God, what did he say? He went to a place. He didn't know how to spell glaucoma, so
Yeah.
he said he had anxiety.
So it's like, right, and so this thing, and so I think that there's a lot of testosterone sales that are pushed from two things: one, ignorance and fear, and two, I think like doctors are probably getting kickbacks, man. I'll just say it.
Yeah.
I think a lot
Well,
of
I mean,
doctors are getting kickbacks, just like they would for high blood pressure medicine, for cholesterol meds,
for all
right?
sorts of
I'm not
shit.
saying
Yep.
don't take them. I'm not saying don't take those
Yep.
things, and I'm
But
not
be
saying I
aware of
won't
what.
take those things.
Yep.
I'm not even saying I might not take testosterone in the future, but I'm not taking testosterone now,
Yep.
and I doubt I will, for a lot of reasons. But the main one is I know that if you take like HGH or testosterone, you can grow cancers,
Yep.
right? So if
And
you
now
have,
let's look
have
at
a
this.
little bit of
Yeah.
precancerous polyp in your colon or your stomach, you'll grow it. And
Yep.
so just for that, I'm out.
And now, so you take a look at this. So, like, this is then where my thought was leading to. Need jujitsu, want jujitsu. Like, why do people quit? As we were saying,
Right,
I think there comes a difference between I want jujitsu, I need jujitsu. Now, I want. What do I want from? What do I need for my jujitsu? So, we
right,
like you look at white belt, right? Most people come in doing. They want to maybe learn some sort of self defense. Like, I want to know what to do if someone grabs me,
right,
or
right.
feel like I do, right? Or I just don't want to run on a treadmill. I want to do something active. Like I think more than half the people come in to my gym, they just don't. They want to do something that's more interactive in a social activity
Then just
that's
lift it.
not than lifting. Which, you know, and so they come in, then they're like, oh, they get exposed, or they come in, or they say, I want to do martial art. And, all right, so here's I'm the closest one to them. So they say, that's location, location, location,
Right, right,
and so they sign up. And you get some attrition. Oh, this is harder than I thought, or this is not quite what I thought, or
right.
I think that's the white belt attrition, or they unfortunately get hurt, or money comes up. Now,
Sometimes, but I even think on the injuries, some injuries, like I just had a really freak injury this week where a guy came in white belt, hadn't been training for a while, but you know what I mean, just work, life, whatever. He
yep,
comes in, he was going, you know how you have your traditional judo grips.
yep,
He was going back and forth, and this guy yanked on the other guy's arm. I don't mean like monster yank; it was just standard issue yank. Dude's shoulder popped clean out,
yeah.
came
And see, things
all the
happen.
way out. Now it turned out because of soccer injuries, he had popped it out before. This wasn't the first time. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like somebody jumped on his arm, had done,
Yep.
you know what I mean? In fact, both of the times I've seen shoulders pop out in jujitsu, that person had already had several shoulders pop out from different
Yeah,
sports.
it was already that's
Yeah.
actually. I have a funny story. This one of my very first woman students named Amanda. I was we were doing some MMA type of sparring, and I hit her in the face and her nose starts bleeding. She doesn't notice. I'm like, hey, you're bleeding. She goes, that's been broken 7 times from rugby. Don't worry about it. I'm like,
Right?
God
So
damn.
this,
So like,
yeah,
but she'd been conditioned because she had done contact. Like rugby damn near is a martial art. Like that's like a organized gang fight.
for sure. For sure.
So, but not everyone, I
Yeah.
had another girl, she brought her friend in. She was a lesbian and this dude dripped sweat all over her face.
She
Not
was ripping out.
intentionally. That was it. She never came back. Like, nope, this is not for
Oh,
me.
dude, there used to be a guy at Charles. That fool used to rain on people. He was like a
Oh, we got swamp things.
rainforest. It was like, bro, like get off me. Like
Yeah.
trying to win just from you. Yeah. I'm not staying. You're not going to be on top of my guard. No, 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 no.
Yep.
I'm sweeping you. You have to get off me. But
So
like,
yeah, but it's like, goddamn. Yeah, we got to be, I call them the swamp things because they just drip on you.
okay. So
So
hold on. So look,
yeah.
look. So here we go. Claude says a BJJ black belt is genuinely one of the harder achievements in martial arts, largely because of time, not just skill. Average time to black belt is 10 to 15 years. Consistent training considered uh, compared to 3 to 5 in many striking arts like karate or taekwondo. There is no fixed curriculum or standardized test. It's almost entirely at the discretion of your instructor's judgment, built on live sparring performance over years, not memorized forms. Estimates commonly cited in BJJ community suggest somewhere between 1 and 3% of people who start at white belt ever earn a black belt. Although
So
this is more,
let's look at that for a second. Let's look at that for what you just said, because I think this is a major reason at all levels people end up quitting. At the instructor's discretion, name me any other goddamn school you sign up for. All right, I'm going to go to your school because I want to earn a diploma. How do I get it? Show up. Where else is that acceptable?
but dude, not it's. I think it's important that it's that way,
So
right?
I have a
And I'll
curriculum.
tell you why.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
the way that this art plays out, your body's type
Mhm.
and your mentality will dictate much more of your game. I am almost 6'3". How tall are you?
I'm 5'4", barely.
Okay, you're 5'4".
Yep.
My game is going to be different than your game. If I make you fight like I fight, you're going to struggle.
Absolutely.
You're going to
So,
struggle. And so, if there's another student who's 5'4", and another student who's 6'4", right? They're going to have different games, dog. And I need to use my discretion to say, you know what? 5'6" dude is ready. 6'3" dude is not yet ready, right? Like I think that that's important to the diversity of the sport, so it doesn't get compartmentalized and McDonaldized.
so let me push back on that because I actually have a written curriculum to get your blue belt and purple belt, and then after that, I have a discussion with the athlete of what it will require to earn your brown and your black belts,
So you
depending on the
standardize
level.
the first 2 belts.
First, yes, but I'll tell you how. It's not standardizing game. I don't standardize game. I have required knowledge. But for me, white to blue belt is mostly about fighting, like actual self defense. There's a striking component to my blue belt test.
Right,
You have got to know how to throw some basic strikes and defend against them.
right,
You have to know, like, so I used to have it super granular, and I've made it a bit more general to account for people's differences. But there's some universal. You should know how to break fall, forward, backwards, rolling, side. That
right.
doesn't matter how tall you are. You should know how to shrimp, how to do a reverse or a forward shrimp, how to do a sit
Yeah,
out, how to do a
yeah,
wrestling shot. So I
yeah.
have different fundamental moves that are not going to, it might change how you execute it on another person, but you should know how it works.
Right, and
And
you know
then
what it is and why.
exactly.
Right.
So if you get a blue belt from me, you'll be able to go to any school and at least relatively keep up with at least the vernacular of that gym.
Yeah, yeah. You won't be lost. You won't be lost.
Exactly. Then, like for me, I'm not asking anyone to know reverse De La Hiva at white belt, but you should know close guard,
Yeah,
top and bottom. I should know fundamentally what are the mechanics to open a close guard. I should know
right,
fundamentally what are the mechanics to break someone's posture, to break, to off balance them. I should be able to
right.
explain to you. And a lot of
What
mine
that?
comes from like I'm building teachers eventually because at some point you'll be 70 years old. I don't care if you're a 7th degree black belt at that point. A 22-year-old blue belt's gonna beat your ass, and
You're
you
gonna
won't be
run
able
through
to
you,
go
homie. You're
back,
about to
right?
get housed.
But you should be able to explain to them how to do things efficiently or
Right, 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 right.
have
No,
understanding.
that's fair.
So I have positions and then things like an arm bar or a triangle choke, a cross collar choke. So I have like for like my test is you should be able to do at least one gi choke and 2 attacks from almost every position like top, bottom, guard, side control, mount, back mount, and half guard. Like
Okay.
nothing even that complicated. But you should
Right.
know a couple things and some basics. How do I defend a choke? Like
Right.
what are the universal mechanics of a choke? What are the universal mechanics of a straight arm lock, of a bent arm lock, of a straight or a bending foot lock?
See, this is why I like you, bro. You
Yes.
dropping gems right now, son. Keep cooking,
So
keep cooking.
after that, like that's very dependent on you, right? And there's a then I have like because I like old school tests. I think there's something to be said about having that hard test. And I never put anyone up who I don't already intend to promote.
Right,
I
right, right,
failed one person, and before I could get the words out of their mouth, they told me they need to redo the test.
right.
They
Okay.
were just so complete. They're like their brain wasn't there. He's like, I can't accept the belt now. I'll retest in a month. I got to get my head out of my ass. That's literally what he said.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was cool. So like, but how they do what they do, like show me two takedowns that are throws. Show me a single leg and a double leg. I don't say which ones. They can
Right. Just do
demonstrate that,
it.
right?
Yeah, you can.
And
You
then
can. Yeah.
and then they have to do like one MMA round of sparring after 20 minutes or 30 minutes of rolling. Just to
Okay.
go and to get their from purple to brown, they have to do some where they cannot punch or kick back. And we put the gloves on. We kind of wail. We don't
Oh,
wail
so
on
they
them
got
or
to
anything.
grapple their way through the
They have to
situation.
know how to defend themselves. They because say you're in a situation where you don't necessarily you have to defend yourself, but you don't necessarily want to just completely incapacitate someone or beat the
Yeah,
brains out of their ass, right?
yeah,
How do I pin control them and be aware of the surroundings,
yeah.
right? And then I'll talk once you get your purple belt, like once you get your purple, I'll say, like, what are your intentions, your long-term intentions? Is it competing? Is it fighting? Is it being the martial arts journey? And then we plot that out. So
I
that's
like
what my
that.
pushback is. But then they have a path forward because I remember when I was working towards my purple belt and I asked my instructor, like, hey, I was very aware because I come from the Carlson background. If you ask when, you might as
Yo,
well buy that belt.
they'll add 2 years to you asking somebody, hey, when you think
Easy.
I had a dude who hadn't even been to a month of classes ask me when he'd get his blue.
Yeah. Right.
I'm
And
like, bro, you can't even ukemi, dog.
yeah, right. You're like, you
You
don't know
quit.
shit.
But
And that's more forgivable. But I asked him, what should I be working on
right.
to get towards my purple? Because he kept saying you're getting close. He goes, keep training. I'm like, I do that already.
Yeah.
What?
That's
And
not
that
American.
also for me as a teacher, when someone comes to me, what should I be working on? If I don't have an answer for them, that's my problem. That's me not paying attention or my instructor's not communicating
Or
with
it's
me
your
without the
ego.
answer. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like and so like all my promotions, I have a separate chat with all my black belts, and every promotion from every stripe is a group decision to make sure we all keep each other in check. And it's a collaborative process. And as people get integrated in the gym, they become part of these collaborative processes.
Oh man, I like that. But now let's look at this
Yes.
for the listeners. The approximate drop off attrition by rank. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
from white to blue, right? Out of 100%,
Yeah.
50 to 60% will make it to blue. That's better than I thought.
That tracks. That tracks about
From
what
blue
my
to
experience is.
purple, only 20% of those blue
Mm-hmm.
belts will make it to purple. Okay. From purple to brown, only 5 to 8% of those purple belts will make it to
What does it say the time range is? Does that have anything in there on like the time you spend at the belt or getting to the
yeah.
next belt?
Oh, and then black is 1 to 3%. 1 to 2
Well,
years at
mm-hmm.
from white to blue, 2 to 3 years blue to purple, 1.5 to 2 years at purple, 1 to 1.5 years at brown.
Well, I beat that at brown and blue. I was a 7 year. So it's like my own. So when I started jujitsu in 2002, I mean, I was living like a monk. I I was doing 19 credit hours, 18 or 19 credit hours at school. I was working 30 hours a week at Papa John's and training
Damn,
20 to 25 hours a week
damn,
jujitsu. That's
damn!
I
You
did
were doing
eight.
it, player.
I so people like say I got my blue belt in 6 months, but it's not your average person who's going twice a week.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
going sometimes most weeks I was training 10 to 12 times a week
Damn.
and then competing at least once a month. Like
Yeah,
I
you're
started competing after my second week. my asshole instructor signed me up for intermediate. So it was an old Naga at Wildwood, New Jersey.
Got
I got
house.
there at 7 a.m. I competed at 1 a.m. and I got choked almost unconscious at 1 a.m. in 10 seconds because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I didn't even know I was signed up for intermediate until I looked at the brackets later. I was like after I was like, oh, that guy just whooped my ass. I didn't know what he
Bro,
was.
jujitsu is crazy, bro.
I was like, he's like, you had a Taekwondo black belt. I'm like, I don't know jujitsu, dog. I just finished your trial 2 weeks ago.
Yo, dudes in jujitsu, they'll just be like, so do we make him fight the Chewbacca Wookiee? Yeah!
Yeah.
This dude's only there. Put him
And I was
against
109
Chewbacca.
pounds.
You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yo, dudes will do that.
It was crazy. But so I pushed through that and I was competing, but then I spent 7 years at blue.
Yeah.
Like I got 14 stripes on my belt. My belt got stolen twice. Just someone running off with it at a comp. I don't even think
Yeah.
probably someone accidentally picked it up.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So then he's like, you can't put these stripes back on. So this motherfucker made me earn them all over again. That's why I got 14 stripes total.
Oh, that's why you're a fucking
Then when he promoted me, he's like, you could have just put them back. I was fucking with you. Now, I come from a martial arts background. Oh, shit. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're
Oh,
good.
yeah. So I come from that tradition where like whatever your instructor says goes. Like there was
Yeah,
no
yeah,
question,
exactly.
right? And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you, bro?
Dude, that's hilarious, bro.
It's fucking hysterical now. I mean, it was even kind of funny then because what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna get upset
Yeah.
about this. And so that track. So one thing I don't do time-based promotions because of the curriculum. This is why I need to work on. I said, well, let's go through this list, see what you know, what you don't know.
Yeah.
I get everyone their first stripe after 1 month. I said, you
Okay.
make it through 30 days, whatever that 30 days roughly comes out to be.
Yeah.
Because you're not quitting. The only one you're ever going to get, but that's your not quitting stripe.
Right.
You came in, and unless you already had like a real athletic background, you got your ass whipped every day. And then we generally roll for a half an hour to 45 minutes every class on top of whatever games we're doing. So you took your beatings, and I believe that deserves recognition.
Yeah.
No, you didn't quit. You pushed through. You were uncomfortable. You kept showing up. You asked questions. Is also part of it. You have to start asking questions, and you start demonstrating. I can shrimp. I can break fall. I tell everyone the most important thing you'll ever learn from me is break falling. You may not ever do anything, but you're gonna fall.
I was mopping a marble floor, mopped myself into a corner unconsciously. I was playing Public Enemies. I don't know if you know the Public Enemy assault vehicle mix. It's one of the best public enemy mixes ever done. A lot of people sleep on that one. That's the best Public Enemy mix ever.
Hey, a Nation of Millions just turned 35.
I know, right? Crazy.
Right. So I got old.
And so I'm listening to that. I'm sloshing all this water around. I realized I painted myself into a corner in this marble at the house. I was like, I mean, I think I'll be okay. I'll just take a and I just dude, it was some real Daffy Duck shit. It was real Daffy Duck shit. You know what I'm saying? So I go and I Kimmy immaculately on this wet marble. I was like,
you're alive.
And I was like, oh, I could feel my forearms were just on fire. And I was like, the skin of my palms was on fire, but my chin was tucked. And I laid there and it's going doo-doo, 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 hella loud. Because I'm like, yo, if I fall and I bust my ass, no one's going to hear me die. Like, because my kids, the house was empty. And I was laying there and I looked up and was like, Judo saved my life. I was like,
right? The most important thing is everyone falls at some point, right? Like, shit. I mean, that's why falling is almost a quarter of my white to blue belt test.
Yeah, bro. No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
So, damn, I don't know, but
So here's what I want to throw at you, though. Here's what I want to throw at you. Let's talk about why people quit at each belt level, real quick.
Sir.
I'll tell you what I think. You tell me if you agree. At blue belt, the reason people quit is because it's such a hard sport that people believe in their pursuit of the blue that it gets easier. They get their blue belt finally. All right, I got it. They come back the next week. The purple belts are
Oh
giving
yeah,
it to them.
the kid
Brown
gloves come off.
belts, giving it
Yep.
to them. Black belts, giving it to them. And then they've got the white belts, the people they got promoted over, clawing them down. Like,
Yep.
bro, like they're breathing down your neck. And they're like, oh my God, Fred didn't get promoted and he almost tapped me. But I got a blue belt and that doesn't, and then they'll quit because they thought it should get easier. That's my belief for why people quit at blue. What do you think?
So I think it's actually partly that because I'll tell you the two worst days of my life were getting my blue belt and my black belt. The two worst. The next day in blue belt, like everyone tried to goddamn murder me, and I actually
Yeah.
went to Brazil 2 weeks after that for spring break, and I was like, I'll bring my blue belt. I'm going to train. I went into this gym. It was
Was it a Carlson
a,
gym?
but no, it was some random little gym, maybe 600 square feet in
Yeah.
Rio, and there's 20 people on the mats. I get the ever living shit beat out of me.
They were
I'm
trying to
talking
give it
like
to
I
you.
was bleeding. I had skin rubbed on my face.
It was
I was
rough.
all but getting stomped, all gi training. And I go
Wow.
to the professor. I'm like, I'm not complaining. I'm like, damn, that was really intense. He goes, my friend. He goes, the white belts are like a babies. You have to help them grow, and then the blue belts are like cockroaches. You have to stomp them out before there's too many. And I'm like, well, that's a hell of a business
That sounds like
model.
some Brazilian jiu-jitsu shit too.
Yeah, like I was like, that's absolutely goddamn insane. Like, how do you have students? But it is like, and then I got my black belt. Like the next day, someone came to my gym. It's like, oh my, he's looking at the black belt. You see his eyes. The guy's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
190. Now I'm 115 pounds.
Right.
And I see he's looking at that black. And we go to start roll or start stuff. He picks me, just lifts me and throws me like that into the wall. And I don't even have pads on the wall yet. Just chucks me into the goddamn wall.
That's
And I'm
cool.
like, what the fuck? And he's like, but you're a black belt. I'm like, this shit ain't covering my medical bills, dog. Like, I didn't get this. Isn't like the cartoons. I just didn't. I'm not the Black Panther. I just didn't have the serum. Like the shit. It was insane what people thought that all
Yo,
that
I
was.
know, dog. It's
And then
crazy.
also the stupid medical questions. I'm like, I do the exact opposite of a doctor. People always ask me, what do you do for this? See a doctor. You have insurance. See a doctor.
Yeah. I'm always like, yo, I'm a hippie and you got to do your own stuff, dog.
But
Cuz
so it's that. And so I think a little deeper into what goes on. That blue belt's almost a mythical creature. Now, a little less so, but when we started out, we are lucky. Like you got health, and I was able to find a fifth degree black belt to train with initially. So it was fourth or fifth.
okay.
I started to get up. Most of them just blues. Like that
Yeah.
blue is almost a mythical creature. Now
Totally.
it's a bit more commonplace, but it's still like there's a
Yeah.
humongous separation between a good blue belt and a white belt.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that white belt has some athletic experience.
Agreed.
You get to that mountain, and then sometimes you see how much further that next stop is. That
Yeah.
difference from
The
white to
the
blue to blue
path
to
from blue
purple,
to purple,
you have this curve, right? And all of a sudden,
that's a serious incline, dog.
and not just technique wise, but also now, like if you're a competitor, it starts really mattering more if you're winning or losing because you're kind of repping the shield.
Yeah,
You're
you're
getting
repping the
the
school, dog.
practices are a little harder. You're getting hurt a bit more. There's a much greater requirement of self-study. Hickson once said something. He goes, "You will learn all the jujitsu you'll ever really know between white to blue belt. Everything else is refining it.
That
You
makes
don't,
sense. I agree with
but
that
but
largely.
I largely, of course, like it's. I think if you really think about it, it's not 100%, but I think it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
80, right? But now you're making these huge incremental gaps. It's like when in kindergarten, when you go from sounding out words and reading your first sentences, there's these huge jumps in development. These jumps become much less perceptible. It's much harder to see. Like you always feel like you're plateauing. So
Yeah.
mentally, to push through that is much harder. Like, man, I'm not getting any better. I'm doing busting my ass. I'm barely when we
People are
always say
catching up
getting,
to you or surpassing you.
yep, and
I
one
had to deal with
percent,
that.
yeah, and like 1%. What, and that's hard to see sometimes. Am I getting 1% better? And sometimes we say that I think to feel better about ourselves. We're not getting better every practice. Sometimes we just go and we maintain, or sometimes shit, I go backwards. I feel like, but
Well, so what I told folks was I believe that the plateau is an illusion. That what most of us call a plateau is the gap between new, like our old game that we believe in, and the new data synthesizing with the old game. So
Yes.
you're going for months, you're getting your ass kicked. You're going for months, you're not winning. You're going for months, da da da, and then all of a sudden you're the guard pass king. All of a sudden you're getting triangles from everywhere, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, Josh is a G now. He leveled up." Not really. It's just
Yeah.
that all of the new data has now synthesized, right? If you lean into your old game all the time, you'll never grow. This stuff
Yep.
never, right? You have to try it out. You have to get it wrong. You did it up, right? Then you get that synthesis. So I think that plateauing is an illusion. I believe that we do get 1% better every day, but we don't feel it because the data of the moment doesn't feel like the growth that is actualizing.
And then on that, like Saulo Ribeiro writes in Jiu-Jitsu University, like, what is white belt? Survival.
Right? It is.
It's so you're just trying not to lose. Now
Right?
all
You're
of a
just trying
sudden
not
it's
to
like
get murdered. Yeah.
trying to win is very different than trying not to lose. And
True.
like honestly, white to blue belt is like going through like elementary and middle school.
Yeah.
Blue belt's like middle school and college
Yeah.
or undergrad, right? Where you're now having it's this time where you have to collect a ton of information. Like a black belt in Taekwondo takes 3 to 5 years. And all it honestly represents is your when you first get your black belt degree, you're now past the basics. You got
Right.
through the long introduction. You're ready to train. You have a base of knowledge and ability that now you're really actually supposed to get into it. Now it's not sold that way in most places. It's like,
True.
oh, now you're just badass black belt. But no, traditionally, what it means is you're not at a kid's belt. Everything under a
Right.
black belt's a kid's belt.
Oh,
Now
I
you're
see
like,
what you're saying.
yeah, even like judo in Japan in the 90s, anything under a black belt is considered a kid's belt.
Interesting.
And that's culturally changing in judo. But so now you have this huge assortment and you're making sense of it. Now you might be seeing the same thing, but trying to figure out, well, what is the thing that I'm missing? And as you progress in the belt, I believe that self-study becomes so much more incumbent upon you, and it's harder to
Dude,
be directed.
I believe that self study is your journey after purple.
Yeah.
After purple. So now let's talk about purple. I believe people leave at purple for a very different reason. And I
Mhm.
believe in this. Now I'm not saying other stuff ain't a factor, but I believe in this. Purple, in my opinion, all the defections or a bulk of the defections happen not from anything but curiosity. When you are a white belt, when you are a blue belt, you're like, my instructor knows and teaches all. And you
Yeah.
really are like, this is where I'm at. When you get to purple, you go to some comps, or maybe you know other purple belts and they do stuff different. Oh yeah,
Yep.
we use a seated guard more than a closed. Oh yeah, we like overhooks more than underhooks. Oh yeah, we use judo takedowns instead of wrestling takedowns, and here's why. And the purple belt goes, it's almost like the grass is greener, right?
Oh, everything's new. That's why you're doing
They
all that
look and they're
spinning and
like,
down shit.
oh, dude, those guys are doing some dope ass inversions down the road. And it's not that they're hating on their coach or what they've learned, but their curiosity, I think, often pulls them out. And it's also combined with a fear of missing out, like a FOMO thing.
Mm.
Like they kind of, it's not that they don't trust what they're learning, but to a degree they don't. And so
So
they're
that's
like,
interesting.
man, I
So
want to go over there real quick. And so that I think is one of the most common defection reasons at purple.
so let's I think there's a couple things that for me why we used to get the attrition rate at purple, which in some ways is even greater than blue and temporary. I think you do get more people that say have to stop, not necessarily quit jujitsu at purple belt, and then they might come back in a few years, or they have to tone
That is a
down the
thing.
training. That's
That
a
is a thing.
because unless you started jujitsu when you're 10, 11 years old, you're probably already in the masters. You're probably over 30.
Right.
You are working a job. You have rent
Kids.
and or a mortgage and the kids, and you start to get in these other areas of life where there's a lot greater responsibility. Unless And let's be honest, and I'll tell you, as someone who makes their living in martial arts, it's a shitty way to make a living. It's it really and
Yo,
I don't
guys,
want
it's
this
not
to
all it's
sound
cracked up to be, my friends.
and I let me really preface this thing.
Oh,
I
the
am
light went
very
down on you a little bit.
grateful.
Did you turn a lamp
Oh
off or
shit.
something?
No. You hear me?
Hold on. No, I
Hello?
can. You're darker
Hello?
over there.
Check.
Like the light's darker. Did you
Oh
have the
shit.
lamp go
Let
out?
me try something. Hold on.
All right, now you're kind of back.
Yeah, it's that.
All right, that's better. You got to
There we
still.
go. I'll just hold it. Yeah. Well, let me just fucking with this. Is that better?
Perfect. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So you are generally because unless usually most people start jujitsu in their 20s. And you're gonna be 7 years, 8 years, like you're in your late 20s, early 30s. You have now adult responsibilities. You have adult aging. Your body isn't quite holding up as well. Now, even
Hey.
though your male athletic prime is your is like your early 30s, if you're smaller, your athletic prime is in your late 20s. It's just, that's why you can see a heavyweights fight into their 40s, and most rooster weights are done by the time they're 29, 30.
Hey, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, when were you, at what age were you your most dangerous as a fighter? Like at this time, whatever the belt level, because even though I'm a black belt, I feel like I was most dangerous when I was a 38-year-old purple belt.
Yeah, my purple brown belt.
When I was in purple brown phase player, and I think it's because there's a mixture of the physicality and mental toughness
Yes.
infused with the technique. Right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes when you're younger, you have more like piss and vinegar in you, but you don't
Yep.
really have the technique.
30 to
Right?
34 for me.
When man, when I was dude
Yeah.
between like 35 and 38, dog.
Yep.
That version of me was a savage. All
I
I needed that
30,
version of me.
I would say 30 to 35.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was on a tear, man. I'm dark as shit. Dude. Oh, you know what it is? It's the light from the back. So hold on.
Okay.
Let me
It looks like we're in space and shit. What the fuck is going on over there?
there we go.
All right, all right, there we go.
So,
All right, there he is.
Yeah.
So then you're making
So,
really good points about
yeah.
purple belts.
Now also, it's interesting enough. Purple belt is much more dangerous than a blue belt. I felt safer competing at purple belt than I did at blue belt. Because I mean, so my first competition at blue belt, I fought a 10-year blue belt. He whipped
Damn,
my ass like I ain't taking a day of my
you
life.
basically fought a purple belt.
He fucked me up. My last match at blue belt was like just at the end of my 7th year at blue. I fought a guy who got his blue belt 2 weeks before that. And I whipped his ass like he ain't never taken a day in his life. The discrepancy in blue belt, which is also I think one of the reasons people quit.
Ooh, the discrepancy of blue belt competition
is
absurd.
insane.
Yo, that is true. Blue belt is a minefield of potential. You
Yep.
could be going against a guy that's just like you. You could be going against a straight killer, and you could be going against a guy like you're like, who gave this guy his blue though? He's kind
Yeah,
of
exactly. So like,
you know what I'm saying?
you get that, and blue and black belt have the two largest skill discrepancies.
Ooh,
They do.
noted.
But why blue because of the huge range of people that actually make it to it, and then black belt because once you're a black belt, you're there forever. Like my first match at black belt was against Vicente Jr. I don't know if you have any idea who he is.
No.
Vicente Jr. is a Ricardo De La Riva black belt who, in his like late 30s, the Meow brothers up are still flying out to help them prepare.
What?
Yeah, like
You went against that guy?
that was my first match. He got his black belt when I started jujitsu.
Oh my
He
god.
tried to get me to go up another weight class. I was like, no, dog, we ain't doing that. And he still wrecked me. Like, let's be very, very clear. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna close the curtains in the back there.
Yeah, it's looking looking like we're on a spaceship about to crash land. If anything, we know Bishop Chronicles is a real show with real human beings having real issues like windows and microphones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little better. So,
all right, cool. So,
but yeah, so he look, he eviscerated. Like I made the mistake of escaping one of his arm locks. Like I just made it the mistake of defending something properly.
And he just
That's
went
what it
after
felt
you.
like. And then you triangle armbarred me to like faster than I could blink. Um, but it's like so you get these huge discrepancies. At purple belt, things slow down. That is between blue belt, you're acquiring technique. Purple belt, you're refining technique. Brown belt, you're getting rid of techniques. I think that
What do you mean?
refinement.
Explain what you mean about brown belt getting rid of techniques.
So at purple, refine you're basically at purple belt. You're refining this game. You're now seasoned, right? You've been in there for at least 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you know what all the buttons do. You know what some of the combos are and what some of the combo breakers are. At brown belt, for myself and for almost everyone I've watched, they use maybe a half to a third of the moves they used at blue belt and purple belt. They
Wow.
they start becoming more specialized.
Yeah,
Like
that's
this is
true.
the part
Because you start being an imposer of your game.
exactly. So I'm not trying to know a million and a half things. I'm
Yeah.
trying to know a couple things really well.
Yeah, and
So
pull you into those spaces.
exactly, you learn how to
Create those
implement.
ecosystems
Yep,
for the things.
exactly.
Yeah.
So purple belt, that refinement's hard because you're I don't care who your coach is. At that point, there's very little explaining they can do. It's really now where, like you talk about the ecological approach, that's very much what purple belt is. Is
Okay.
you have to challenge yourself to learn outside of just what's being taught.
Especially in your school, but that can
Yes.
be problematic if you start bringing in techniques from outside of the school. There was a time at house, bro. I remember. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm messing this
Oh, I
guy.
got yelled at visiting a friend and training with him.
I went to house when I was at house. My boy Alex Oxendine,
Yeah.
because Alex, BJ Penn, JD, and all them, they all live kind of near each other, and
Yeah.
I live near BJ about I don't know about an hour and a half. Anyway, Alex gave me a Pedro Carvalho videotape. Pedro Carvalho was one of the first Carlson guys to make videos. Like there was like Mario Sperry,
Yep.
and there was Pedro Carvalho.
I might have one of those around.
Dude, his
somewhere.
tapes were lit. So
They're still good.
man,
Yeah.
I got a pass I do till this day.
Yeah.
I got off there. And I remember I was there. I hit that pass. Him around the side, feeling like a G.
Yeah.
How? What the fuck is this shit? What motherfucker's teaching you that fucking move? Huh? I was like, bub, 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 scubbity bub, videotape. He was like, yeah, fuck that. You do what
Isn't that crazy?
I was like, gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that was at white. I was at white belt when that happened. But at purple, you have to start diversifying. So I understand somewhat the necessity of how other games can capture your attention. But I also believe if your coach got you to purple and you believe you were good enough to be purple, why would you believe that they couldn't get you to brown or that you couldn't still learn that without staying at the school you're in? Unless you're just not happy, which is fair.
You know, so one, it's like, I remember I got yelled at, I think it was blue or purple, where I brought a book in.
No
and
shit.
My first coach screamed at me, goes, just take a private lesson. Why are you bringing this in? I'm like,
what book was it?
It might have been Jiu-Jitsu University.
Yeah.
And I also brought Fedor's book in.
Ooh.
It's actually a very well done book. And that's the best book first memorable book, honestly, for me, as a side note, was Eddie Bravo's. Because it was the first one.
Eddie Bravo's books.
It was organized.
Get enough props, bro.
They're not because everything else was like this is that, very disjointed. He had flow charts like this goes to that to that.
Yeah, he had connected stuff.
So props to Eddie for that. Like
shout out to Eddie Bravo, my boy. Hey,
yep. So like it's one coming from an education background. Like one of the things you learn as a good educator is to say, I don't know. And so many jiu-jitsu, I think there's a lot of insecurity in jiu-jitsu that manifests itself in very nefarious and toxic ways.
Ooh, speak on it.
Which is a side conversation of like, I think also why we get a lot of sexual predators and just toxic
weirdos, environments.
Just real weirdos is being nice, like just straight up just scum. But
yeah,
because if you can't just have the what do we always say? Leave your ego at the door, but then your instructor's yelling at you if you learn from somewhere else. Well, what about you,
Ooh,
dog?
ooh.
Right? Like no one knows
Okay, so
everything.
I do want to say this though. One of the things that changed this was what Robert Drysdale calls in his book, The Rise and Evolution of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the democratization of Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes, yes.
So when Half was telling me, keep shit in house, it's because in those days, schools didn't know. Like, I didn't know what was happening at the tournament until you showed up. And
Yep.
you didn't know what was happening until I showed up. This is pre-YouTube, and VHS cassettes were new. Everybody didn't even always
Yep.
have them and learn that way. So I think that in those days, there was a necessity of the instructor to want to keep the knowledge in-house because things were very competitive. People
Well, it
would
was
leave
also
schools.
easier too. There was no
Yeah,
YouTube.
but people would leave schools and
Yeah.
totally trash not only the teacher, they give all the secrets away.
Yeah.
They do it. Da, 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 da.
Oh,
And
I
so
got that. You're
they
giving
did
our
the whole
secrets away.
bilge thing and all that. But the thing is so I respected that then. But I think once the democratization, meaning YouTube,
Yep.
DVDs, and all that stuff started happening, like I wrote an article a while ago that basically said, I'm not sure that lineages are a thing anymore.
Yeah, and that's
Which
just
which
aside.
kid?
Yeah,
Who do you have in jiu-jitsu now that's above a blue belt that doesn't do something that John Danaher taught? Whether
exactly.
it's
Like,
guard pass concepts, back attacks, escapes, mount escapes, whatever, right? So like now, like yeah. Half Gracie has a lineage. The way that we move, the way that we view
yep.
structure, the way that Carlson views structure, the way that Elio's school views structure, 10th Planet, right? All very different, right? But there's still what we do in the school. Like I tell my students, I don't care if you learn stuff off Instagram. I don't like
Yep.
it as much. I think a lot of it kind of sucks and you be missing details, but I don't hate that. But what I want you to do is know what your lineage teaches. It's fine
Yes.
what you saw online, but how do we pass from this school? It's okay to like the upside down, whatever pass, but
You've got
how
to
do we
know.
pass? Like I
Yeah,
think it's
I
important
have
to
the
know
same.
both.
I have a slightly different perspective.
Hmm.
All right. Even if we're fighting MMA, all of my fights are online. I put a bunch of my training sessions online. I've done that from the moment I could put a YouTube up. And
Right.
I make my students keep their content online until once they enter a fight camp, I take it down. I don't have to make things easier for my opponents.
Right. I
But
got
what but in between, I say you are to leave it all up because if you're the same person now that you were before, that's your fault.
you.
So, all right, you give secrets, good. Let me show you everything. Like I had Kyle Snyder out right after he had his Olympic gold medal at my gym.
Okay.
He's a
Yeah.
Maryland native,
Yeah.
right? And I asked him, can I record? He goes, you can put it all online. He goes, no one's going to train it as hard as me.
Hey, there
That's
was a
all he said.
guy
He
named
goes, all
Mike
my matches are
Pacino.
online. You can see everything I do. You will not be able to do it because you're not going to train it like me. So I can explain it all. It won't make a difference, which is a big
Dude,
difference, by the way, wrestlers compared to jujitsu guys,
no,
right?
this is a big deal, right? Like, because I remember years ago, a black belt in judo named Mike Pacino showed me
Oh,
this sick ass throw. And I was like, he was a Willie Cahill black belt, right? Willie
yeah.
Cahill's like the Olympic coach, like
Yep.
absolute legend. Um, and so when he goes, yeah, some people go like this, and then I go like that. And I was like, ooh, I was like, that's dope. Show me again. And he showed me. And I was like, all right. And I said something like, don't worry, I won't tell anybody or whatever. And he was like, there's
Well,
not really like a secret move. He was like, look, he was like, I train this like so much. I don't care if people know that I do it or whatever, because he was so unstoppable at it, right?
yeah.
Just like Kale Sanderson with the ankle pick. You knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Could you stop it?
Exactly. So there's what were we just talking about?
I think we were
Brainwave.
talking about like
Oh,
lineage.
so lineage and so like again, and so, oh yeah, so let's be very real. Unless we're training this to go to actual war, we are cosplaying in pajamas that are very expensive.
That's fair.
So
But that cosplaying is a higher level of cosplaying than most people will ever even.
not to downplay that, but I'm saying like, go no
We're
secrets. You're
still
giving
dudes
away
who got
things.
jobs and lives. We're not
Hey,
in
like
Sparta. We're not on the Serengeti plane getting ready to You
And
know
the
what I mean?
worst that happens, I lose a jiu-jitsu competition. Who fucking who?
Yeah.
So like that's a big why you have I like, and now like I'm probably like just like you. When I first started, I was a blue belt going to my friend at it was at Mike Moses' school at Evolve Academy, and I got screamed at. You're showing our secrets. I'm like, I'm visiting a friend.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it
come
can
on,
be
man.
weird like
Like,
that
and
sometimes.
because now
Yeah.
we're gonna get better. We're gonna get better
But
by making. If I show you what I know, and you show me what you, we both have to get better. Because also a lot of the guys I was friends with, I competed with. There's about 4 of us that were all within the weight range. We would all train together outside the competition. It just made us have to push our game.
I will say though, there are probably certain psychologies, routes, and strategies that will need to stay in house when we're prepping for comp.
Oh yeah, when
I
you're
don't
prepping.
like that.
So
I
when you're
don't like
prepping,
that.
yes. So when you're prepping, yes. When you're getting ready for competition, but cross training with someone outside, but when you're not in competition mode,
Yeah, no
but
question.
especially now in the day of the internet, there are no secrets anymore. There are
Yeah,
zero secrets. And it's who trains, implement their game best, and has then the quickest, readily available answers for the most common
whatever's
questions.
up. Yeah, no, that's
Right?
fine.
So,
So hold on, we got to talk about brown
oh
belt.
yeah. Yeah. So did we get through purple? So that was
Yeah, I think
purple
so.
is that refinement. So brown belt is a very weird belt. It is harder to get than your black belt. Almost everyone who makes it to brown belt makes it to black belt. But brown belt,
Noted.
I really believe that. And that's been my experience. But brown belt, if someone described to me, you're a black belt without the responsibility.
Okay.
You are not the flag bearer. You're not the shield wielder of the school, but you have all the responsibilities of a black belt otherwise from that gym. You are a representation of that style, of
Yeah,
that lineage. You are really now like you're now are someone who's not just learning, but you are probably an active contributor to jujitsu as a whole.
I would say when you're a purple belt, you're officially in the mafia. When you're a
Yes.
brown belt, you're a made man.
Yep.
You're a
And you're
made man.
you're a capo when you're a brown belt.
Yeah,
Like that's some legit shit. Like that's like you get your blue belt, you become jujitsu becomes part of you. When you get your purple, you become part of the jujitsu culture.
I
A
agree.
brown belt now you become almost a steward of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So the attrition at brown belt for me, with people that have stopped, it's been almost 100% life or injuries. They got a serious spinal
They hurt
injury
their back.
that
They
put an
really
end to
wrecked
it.
their knee.
Their neck, their divorce, they have no more money. They have
Ooh,
got
divorce.
like right or things
I
that
hate it.
completely take them out. But most people who get to brown belt make it to black belt eventually. It might just take a
Nah,
little
I
time.
agree. I think the other thing about brown belt though, like I knew a guy who was offered a brown belt from a school a bunch of years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought it was an unfathomable thing at the time because the school was a savage. But he said no.
Oh
He didn't
shit.
want it. And then he went to another school. What's going on?
I'm trying to like there's clouds and shit in the back. I just sorry. This episode is rated WTF for what the fuck he just say? What are you doing?
I think some brown belts leave because as much as they love the school they're at, sometimes again back to this grass is greener thing, they leave
Yes.
or they genuinely believe that a higher level is achievable and they want it when they get that black belt. So they'll
Yes.
leave. So they will leave and they'll be like, and sometimes you know what? Sometimes coaches become unsufferable at brown and they try to make their brown belts be like their in-house slaves and shit. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Or even the
And
like
so and so they'll be like, yo, I'm not here to get treated like this. I sacrifice for the squad. I'll
yeah.
help everybody prepare.
I'm
But
paying to work, right? Like
man,
I'm paying you to work, which is
yeah,
like
bro.
that's why I pay my instructors. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. Like I have 2 people who refuse payment, and I still try
Right.
to take care of them. But yeah, there is like the brown belt. There might be a cultural shift, or the school dies. Like you've been there
Right?
forever. Like those are the people who've been out of school long enough. There's a split, something happens. A
Yeah,
lot of the times it's not an active, you know what? I'm just quitting jujitsu. I think most of the attrition at brown belt happens because of outside variables that are less under their control.
that's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair, man. That's fair.
Yep.
No, man. I think
And then you quit. I think people, and know the craziest thing is like Taekwondo, you get a lot of people that quit at black belt because they just think they're the hottest
oh,
shit.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you are starting to see like people quit at black belt. And I think the attrition at black belt comes, I put all this time and sweat, all these injuries, all this pain, and what do I have to show for it besides this belt?
Well, you know what?
Does
This
the art love
so
me
glad you
back?
said it the way you said it, because this is why ethics and philosophy matter,
Yes.
right? Because if all you're about is a belt, if all you're about is the rank, you will be disheartened. You will
Yep.
be feeling hollow. You will feel like you may have wasted your time, right? But if you are working on who you are psychologically, right, philosophically, and or spiritually, as you go through it, um, the belt takes on a higher meaning. Your potential at that rank has a higher meaning, and what you do with it has a higher meaning. I think one of the main reasons that a lot of people become abusers in jujitsu is because once they get to the top,
They're
it's
like,
not
what
as
else?
fulfilling. It's not as fulfilling. But
Yep.
people are fawning all over them. It's not as fulfilling. But people are treating them that they're like they're Mr. Miyagi, mixed with mixed with
Master Splinter or
a
some shit.
physics
Yeah.
scientist. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And it's like, nah, dude. And so that's how a lot of the financial um, abuse, psychological
Oh, you're
abuse.
out of focus.
Am I?
Yeah. Full
What?
blurry on mine. Just
What the?
you see
Dude,
it? That's better. All right.
all
Now
right. So I think that that's what happens. And also the other thing that happens is people become black belts.
what do
And
I get next? What's
once
next?
they well no, once they get older and the younger bulls start dragging them a little bit,
Yep.
they feel like they suck and then they quit.
Yep.
They only like jujitsu when they could be dominant, but they don't like or love jujitsu once they're not. You know, at 56, I'm not the G I used to be. I
Yep.
can still pull off some murder if I have to, but like,
It exhausts you. Like when you have to pull it out, the next day
yeah,
you're
yeah,
barely
I
walking.
can pull it
Like,
off, right? But here's the deal. I know I'm 56. I know the knees are trash. Everybody that
yep.
knows me knows my knees are trash. Everybody that knows, the back might pop out once in a while or whatever, right? But here's the deal. I'm here to help other people become better. And
Yes.
I'm more fulfilled
You're
from
a
what
steward
I
of the
know.
jujitsu.
Yeah, I'm more excited about teaching what I know and understand to younger people so they know it quicker, faster, and better than I ever did, so they can
Yep.
go on and live whatever life they want to live with it, right? Whether they want to compete, whether they quit down the line, whatever. I want them to have some stuff. But I feel like I've seen a lot of guys get to black, take on an injury, or start to see the younger bulls coming for
Mhm.
them, and they quit. And I think
They
that's
want nothing
ego
with it.
based. I think that's ego based, and I think that that's like a short sighted way of journeying through jujitsu. And I think it's always proof that you don't have any philosophy attached to
I
your
think there's also another element. So I think there's a few things.
go.
One is you could have given your life. I've helped all these other people become successful competitors, become successful fighters, and I have nothing to show for it. They just leave me. Like one of
Right?
my
Hey,
my my,
people will
my
leave you,
Muay Thai
bro.
coach told me when I first started coaching, seriously, not just like here and there,
Yeah.
goes all your fighters will break your heart at some point. All
Ooh.
of them. They will all going to, no matter, even if they never leave you, they're going to break your heart at some point. And by
Ooh.
the time you get the black belt, that is going to happen more than a dozen
Oh
times.
man, I've been there so much, and I ain't even been a black belt that long, dog.
Yeah. So,
I have
that
not been a
right?
black belt that
It's going
long.
to happen. And then there's another thing. You have to punch, kick, scratch, bite your way to every belt and every intermediary step. Now you get it for existing.
I
Right?
don't.
I'm a third degree. I'm going to get my next one. Literally, I could do no jujitsu. I'll still get my fourth degree.
But here's the deal, though.
But
While
so
that's
hold on,
true,
let me finish this.
go,
Let
go,
me
go.
finish it real quick. Because of that, it's like what you do at brown belt But now at brown belt, you spent whittling down, making yourself this really honed game. Unless I would say you're over 40, which case brown belt is almost the same as a black belt journey of just learning,
Right, right,
observing,
right.
and developing. Now you're back to being a blue belt again, almost back to being a white belt. I remember the first, like after my second week at black, I was like, yeah, I don't really know anything.
Yeah, I
Like you have to
definitely.
have a
I
rebirth.
woke up feeling that the next day. I looked at the belt. I was like, oh my god, I really got a black belt. I don't know shit.
Yeah, like it's so it becomes this thing where you're all of your progress. It's even if you have an instructor, it's all entirely almost self-directed. So you have to have a ton of intrinsic motivation to continue to develop, whether it's your coaching, whether it's your own technique, because there is no more next belt for you to get until coral belt. And you'll get there. But if you really want to be a quality, someone who's involved in the art, that's entirely self-directed.
For
And
me,
that's hard.
all of my stripes that come to me are going to be a byproduct of my work as a coach,
And
right?
but see, that's
Because
your
I'm getting
intrinsic
older. I'm
motivation.
getting older. The body's getting like, the wear and tear is getting real, right? And
Yep.
so I'm just using the health that I have to show as much jujitsu as I can in the best way possible before the body fully quits. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? But there's another reason why people quit at black. I've seen people give the best years of their life in training, break their body in tons of ways, and after they get to the top of the mountain, they just don't have it in them anymore.
Yeah, you get
They
burnt out.
don't because they're like, "Yo, my back is really wrecked. Yo,
Yep.
my
And what do I
shoulder,
have for it?
my shoulder will pop out if you breathe on it too heavy." Right? So it's like I got here, but I can't afford to stay. And I salute
Yeah.
anybody. Look, if you did jujitsu for 2 years, I don't care that you quit.
Yep.
I wish you would stay to learn all these other things. I do. I want everybody to stay, but I know they won't. But if someone at least stays for like 2 years, doing 2 or 3 days a week, I'm really happy with what jujitsu is
You
usually.
got to take something with you. You have a passenger in your car in life.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? And so, man, I want to thank you for uh, being on Bishop Chronicles today. I got to have you
Yeah.
back because there's so much we.
I think we got to have a part two of this discussion because there's actually a lot of thoughts
No, there's a
that
lot.
are,
We probably have to have a 3 and 4, if I'm honest.
yeah. But I think like that path in black belt, like people, it's like I had a huge imposter syndrome when I got mine. Like one of the guys on the team I used to be on, he was ranked like third in the world. He had beaten the Meow brothers and Gi a couple times. Like
That's a savage.
he wouldn't take his glasses off when we rolled.
Damn.
He said there's that I don't need to. And I was like, he wasn't even saying just to be a dick. He was just like, we were doing two completely different arts. It's like when I rolled with Marcelo Garcia the first
I can't
time,
imagine what rolling with Marcelo is like.
he sweat me. I'm in his guard, my knees out, my hands out. He twitched his hips and I fell over. He's like, yeah, I felt your weight was shifted too much. All right, we're doing two completely. We might be doing jujitsu. We're doing two different martial arts,
That's what it
right?
was like rolling with BJ Penn for sure.
Yeah, right. It's just
Yeah.
this awareness.
Yeah.
So as you get towards that black belt, so much of this becomes like this full circle, and you have to have a willingness to almost relearn things,
True, 100%.
especially when you're over 40.
Yeah,
Like it is, I've it's hard for me to keep up with the game. I enjoy it, and then like talk about injuries. I have a broken neck. All my fingers have been broken. My knees have been shot. All my toes have been broken. My foot's been messed up.
my knees are wrecked.
But you know what I told my mom? I remember when I got my first cauliflower ear. The object of life is not to die with a pretty corpse. So I'm
Hey,
well on my way, right? I want to
shout
have
out
some
to my boy.
stories.
Hey, my boy Dan. My boy Dan. He told me that a while ago. Like he's trying to get his body back into the grave, all mangled. He's
Yep.
gonna you right. And I was like, you know what? Like that might sound reckless a little bit, but that makes a lot of sense, bro.
I think
Like,
it's
you know what I'm
awesome.
saying? Like not abject insanity, harming yourself, but really using your body to live full.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Is
a
important.
hundred
And
percent.
I intend to do that.
So yeah. But I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna have to get to work soon. Also,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, dude, this has been absolutely dope. I'm so glad
This is dope, dude. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting you back on way soon. Like, let's do
we're gonna
something
continue
within
this.
like 30 days. Or try to do another
Absolutely,
one within
my
30
commitment.
days. But tell me
And
this. Tell people where to find you online.
so you can always reach out to me at Josh JPCPMMA on or Josh CPMMA CPMMA dot official on Instagram. You can look me up Joshua Peters on Facebook. combatprinciplesmma.com is the website, and that has a link to like my social accounts. My school's located in Burtonsville, Maryland. Come through. I love having guests. I don't not charge a drop-in fee for anyone who's actively training at another gym. Your experience is more important to me than $25. So
That's dope, man.
come
That's
by.
dope.
And yeah, if you're ever interested, you want to hear me ramble or learn some really crappy jujitsu, let me know. I'm available to do some seminars. I love teaching. I like exchanging information.
This guy's dope. His game is real. He's trained and learned with some of the best, and you'll learn more from him next time. Thank you again for being on Bishop Chronicles. Y'all stay blessed. Don't forget, okay, the last episode with Sanjay. Go check that out. Go check out the Robert Drysdale one. Go check out the Liam Khan conversation around UFC 250 and all that came with it. Don't sleep on the Benji Silva episode. Lots of good stuff on here. Lots more to come, and stay
And
blessed.
read a goddamn book.
Read a goddamn book, would you?